go. Ya tú sabes. Mr. Mayso, thank you for being
¿Qué
here,
pasó,
man.
bro?
Always un placer tenerte.
Sí, señor.
I love,
Sí, señor.
I
We're
love,
here.
I love these beauties you brought. I love these stands you brought. Last time you were here, we were talking about, the Second Amendment, the right to arm yourself. Ever since then, there's been so many new
So
things.
much happening.
What's going on? Talk to me.
Oh my gosh. We've had wins, we've had losses, we've had setbacks, we've had pauses in the forward moving of restoration for our Second Amendment rights. But you know what? As I take this opportunity to be here, we've had for our good things that have happened, we've had really, really good things that have happened.
Yeah.
Especially for California and the restoration of our rights and all that. So we're here to let the people know of all the good things that have been happening, and also to light a fire on everyone's hearts about the work that's still left to be done, and we need to continue. We need to continue advocating and exercising our rights, especially in California.
Let's talk about them, because I'm pro gun. I own guns. I've owned guns for 20-something years. As soon as I was legal to get a gun, 18, I bought my first rifle, bought my first shotgun. 21, I bought a gun, and
Beautiful.
I still have that same gun. I go to the range, I practice. People ask me, why do you have a gun? I always said, my response has always been, until the recent 8 years, it's always been, I do it for a sport. It's a sport. I like,
Gotcha.
I like going, I like shooting, I like having fun. Now it's as crazy as the world is. But my point is active and being an owner, it's amazing how many people don't own guns. It's amazing how many people don't know the laws or, other reasons to carry a gun. Let's talk about these wins, because even me, I don't know them all. I probably don't even know most of them. All I know is my how to carry, how to be responsible, and that's about it. But what are these W's that we got?
Well, let me utilize some of the things that you just said as to frame my answer. The first and foremost reason for keeping and bearing arms is to ensure our free state, the free state of each individual as American citizens. Our founders, made it a point to have that as the Second Amendment, right after that that first one that was so key, in the First Amendment. In the event, as the natural course of all governments, in the event that the government became tyrannical, because even though the prescriptions that they placed in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, still the natural course of every government goes from free to authoritarian to tyrannical. And the Second Amendment is a stopgap, not just to help you repel.
I'm sorry. Define those. Tyrannical, define those steps that you took, you're saying.
So
how would you describe that? Because I've heard the words. I've used it in sentences, but I'm like, I don't, like, if I had to explain it to somebody, I have no idea.
So, man, you've heard a lot of people are throwing it around as of late, the fourth turning, all the turnings, you've heard this. Good times create...
Right. Soft times create hard times create tough men create easy times.
All that.
Easy times create tough times.
So you can basically transpond that to governments,
Right.
when the governments are actually, encompassed by the people, for the people, stuff like that, then it works fine. But eventually, the special interests, the people, with that hold, levers of power, they end up gaining, wielding the power, the awesome power of the government, right?
Right. To add to that, which was also said together, it's kind of like you're better off being a ninja in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Exactly.
So basically what you're trying to say, it's better to have a gun and not ever need it. Like, I've used my gun. I'm applying for a CCW, or we'll see what I decide to do with that. But the point is that I've owned guns for over 20 something years, and I've never carried it or had it out, whatever, but I have it. And when COVID hit, in 2020, I had people, hey, can I borrow one of your guns? I was like, nope. Not at all, bro. Good luck with you, But, people got to that fear. And now it's happening again.
Well, just to go back and answer your question, tyranny can come from the government. Tyranny can come from an individual, somebody who has made a conscious choice to tyrannize you, to victimize you, right? And you, as a regular citizen, you have a human right to defend your life.
Right.
Now, if you take that through the, logical steps, if you have an inalienable, a right that cannot be separated from you to defend your most valuable possession, which is your life, there should be no restrictions on the means that you can take yourself to defend your most valuable possession, which is your right. And, by that same line of thinking, the life of your loved ones. Like, we can bring up the situation that just happened very recently. Mr. Vince Ricci, who is a resident here of L.A., who was forced to draw his concealed firearm and fire at two armed thugs who jumped over his fence.
But by the way, that was so fucking John Wickish, because he threw his fucking tea. The guys jumped over. He had coffee or tea. I think they said it was tea.
Tea, yeah.
And fucking they came at him. He threw the fucking tea at them, pulled out, fucking defended himself. His wife and daughter were behind the door.
Yep.
And he saved himself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And now they suspended his CCW. But that's because he was just talking shit to the cops or something.
Goes the story that he
very John Wick.
he was absolutely. Mad props to Mr. Ricci. He was very irate, very obviously he had just been forced to draw his weapon, which is something I will take this opportunity to say that anyone who conceals carry, the vast majority of us, we're not out here hoping for a confrontation, to have to draw our firearm and possibly take a life.
Right.
Nobody wishes that. But here, Mr. Ricci was forced to draw his firearm and fire it. And, it, by the way, and it's very important that we say he was within the boundaries of his home. So anyone can carry their weapon on them within the boundaries of their home. Doesn't have to be inside the four, square walls. If it's your property, you can carry your firearm, even in the state of California.
Interesting. So that means the CCW factor had nothing to do with nothing.
Nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Correct. At that point, and there was some confusion over the last few days whether it was the sheriff's department or LAPD that took it, and it was the LA County Sheriff's. It was the name escapes me right now, but it was one of Sheriff Luna's under sheriff that apparently yanked it. And yes, the reason they gave, as asinine as it sounds, it was because Mr. Ricci raised his voice at the responding officers. I think the responding officers were LAPD.
Right, I'm sure.
The story goes he was very irate because they did not lift up shell casings, because the thugs did return fire as well. They didn't do any of those normal, what you would consider would be a normal course of investigation, as evidence. Let's grab shell casings or whatever. They did apparently they did not.
Right.
So he got very upset because his home had already been targeted before.
Yeah, that's probably why he had his CCW. Which
kidding,
again,
right?
It had nothing to do with nothing.
Right. So then it all devolves into LA County Sheriff's. For some godforsaken reason, takes his CCW, and now Mr. Ricci has to go out into the wild streets that we know as LA without his firearm. I'm not going to say lawfully speaking, because the law, I believe that the law that governs that, the Mulford Act in California, covers the CCW permitting scheme, is unconstitutional. I believe it wholeheartedly to be unconstitutional. However, up and until we challenge it and successfully gets declared unconstitutional, we, the law-abiding citizens, right, or which I like to refer to as peaceable citizens, we have to obey those laws that give us no, leg up over the law-breaking victimizers, right? We have to obey by those laws,
Right.
Under threat of us earning a title of criminal as well, for defending, for wanting to have the ability to defend our life. Tragic.
Yeah, it's super tragic. And the more grown up and adult, you get in life, you start realizing whatever your opinion is about police, and I'm not even going to say mine, good or bad, whatever the case is, but they don't really stop crime. The thing is, they don't stop crime. If your best case scenario, you see a bad guy, he has guns, he's coming on his way, and you have a block heads up to call the police and say, hey, there's a guy coming here with a gun, he's gonna, he's gonna attack, and he comes into your building or your home, and the cops are not gonna make it. There's just no scenario you can create or manufacture that benefits to rely on police officers.
That is accurate.
Which is insane. It is insane. Because how many fucking people get fucked? How many people get taken advantage of, or get robbed, get beaten up, family members raped, get any of those situations, and I'm talking about, seriously, create a situation that, okay, the cop's a block away and the bad guy's a block away, and you still call. There's no fucking way they're getting there on time.
Buddy, there's a case going on right now in one of the Hawaii islands, city of Kapolei, if memory serves me well. This lady had been in custody. I think she had been either heavily under the influence or something like that. And so the story goes that the lady had been held in custody overnight at the police station, and I believe it's the city of Kapolei. She had been released. I can't remember the time of the day, but she had been sitting on the outside of the police station on the stairs. Some other vagrant comes and bludgeons her with something that he found nearby. I think it was a log or something. It was a blunt object. Bludgeons her to death on the steps of the police station.
Wow.
The estate, which I believe is the family of the lady who was killed by this vagrant, they are now litigating with the city and the police department that they failed to render aid to this woman, because as it was happening, there was screamings and all that happening, and the lawyers for the city and the police department are saying the police had no duty to render aid to the lady.
I'm speechless. That's fucking terrible.
And just like that, there have been plenty of other already, litigated cases.
Oh, I'm sure.
The Parkland shooting, Marjorie Stoneman Green High School in Florida, where the school resource officer, you may remember this, stayed outside as he could hear the shooting happening of Nicholas. I believe the student that perpetrated was Nicholas Cruz. As he was going around doing the rampage, he never went in.
Right, like the whole Texas Uvalde thing where they were just
like Uvalde, etc.
they were just waiting outside.
The families, students, survivors sued, the county and the school system and the cop himself. Time after time, the courts say the police have no duty to save you. So that's why we are in the Second Amendment advocacy realm. We're so ardent, we're so persistent in telling people you need to be your own first responder.
Right.
You need to allow the cops to be the second responders. You need to be able to be your own first responder. And that needs to be with whatever tools you're able to acquire and master to defend, like I said before, your most valuable possession, which is your life. And do not allow anyone to come in between you and your right, your God-given right, inalienable right to defend your life.
I'm gonna break that down even easier. Yes, you are correct. But if somebody doesn't want to do that and somebody doesn't want to get a gun, cool. Fucking awesome. But why are you going to make a law that's just going to fucking make it more difficult for people that want to?
Correct.
And I think that's the bigger problem. Like, like the vaccine. It's like, all right, cool. You want to push the vaccine? Cool. Maybe if you're unhealthy, maybe if you're out of shape, maybe if you're sick, maybe if you have preconditions, maybe get the fucking vaccine.
Right.
But don't force it on, if they did it on police officers, on paramedics, on healthy individuals, on athletes. Don't force it on people if it's not necessary.
Correct.
And this is not political. This is not left. This is not right. This is not red. This is not blue. This is fucking common sense of like, you do you. I do me. Don't interfere with my fucking space. I won't interfere with your space. I want to defend myself. I don't want to defend myself. Good luck. Good luck to you. All right? You have a problem. Don't fucking call me. Because that's the other thing people don't understand. When you own a gun and you take safety courses, you learn certain things like you have the right to defend yourself. But if you hear screaming on the streets, if you hear a confrontation between neighbors and a couple or this, that, we're not going to get involved. A responsible gun owner will not, anybody would advise you, you can't confrontate them. You can't get involved.
You cannot seek confrontation.
You cannot seek. That's proper word.
Confrontation has to find you.
Exactly. So if I own a gun and I'm home and I hear something outside, well, I wish, excuse me, I wish they owned a gun so they could defend themselves, but I can't and I won't. I won't because it's to protect my family. I'm not going to seek, great word.
Right. Where it changes is if it is, a loved one of yours, somebody who is under your tutelage,
my kid, my
child,
wife, or something getting out of the car, or something like that. Yeah, of course.
Correct. That's.
But I want people to understand because I've had the conversations of like, well, I've had neighbors. Well, I'm happy you own guns because like if something happens, I'm like, something happens. Good luck, bro.
You're happy that I own guns?
That's not how it works.
That's hilarious.
That's not how it works. But there's people like, oh man, I was thinking about getting a gun, but it's good you have it. And I'm like, what does that fucking mean?
Funny.
I go, what the fuck does that mean? So I think it's just
laziness, bro. I'm gonna call it like it is. It's laziness.
It really is. It really is.
You cannot be. You're not. Nobody is entitled to somebody else's. Risking their life for you. Even
a police officer.
Even a police officer. Correct.
A firefighter. Trust me. Yes, I get it. There are heroes that go beyond the call of duty.
Absolutely.
But it's 100%. Not their job. A firefighter or a police officer have to look at certain circumstances and calculate
and
the
they
risk.
Make the risk.
And I get that. Correct. I get that on certain things. Again, the school thing, I fucking, you know what pissed me off about the school thing, the Uvalde thing? Did you see when they highlighted one of the police officers? He was on his phone.
And
he had the Punisher.
And one grabbed.
He had
the Punisher skull. Yes.
Fucking piece of
on
shit,
the screen.
Dude.
Yeah. And I believe it may have been the same one, and another one goes and grabs freaking hand sanitizer. dude, like y'all are about to get into a
when
freaking.
kids, man. That one fucks me up.
There,
dude.
there are kids getting killed right here, and you worry about fucking hand sanitizer, yo.
And
Like,
you're wearing
what?
fucking bulletproof vest. You have backup. You're wearing helmets. You have better gear. You have fucking like, dude, come
But
on,
again,
man.
I, as much as it pains me to say, I can't fault them because they all have lives. They all have kids, wives, whoever, loved ones that they want to see at the end of the day. So you cannot make them. You do not have in this country for after the abolishment of slavery. Nobody has the right to somebody else's labor, and in the case of law enforcement, police department, sheriffs, nobody, we do, even though we pay for their, salaries through our confiscatory taxes, we do not have the right to their labor, which is law enforcement. They're there to enforce laws. They will use the firearms that they use for the most part to defend themselves.
Right.
For the most part, that's the main reason why they carry a sidearm or one of these implements in the back of their car for when it's necessary to take down an adversary who has superior firepower than they do. And that's part of why I do this type of merch to advance the culture
Right.
of the citizenry, that we all have a right to superior firepower. We all have a right to defend our lives with the most awesome possible, tools available to us.
Right. Which again, I want to add a different perspective because I see both sides. Anybody that owns a firearm, we don't want to use our firearm.
No.
Number one, nobody wants to kill nobody. That's number one. Number two, regardless if we're doing it legally and how legally we're doing it, there is consequences. There is fees. There is trauma. There's therapy.
Correct.
There is, it's so fucking devastating that it's not something that I have power. No. It's a risk. Not only that, I was talking to Ricardo Garcia, the public defender of Los Angeles. Okay. And unfortunately, I didn't have this conversation on camera. But we were talked about it after camera. And there was a case that he had to get a CCW, and he carried a CCW for 10 years. And when you carry, there is a fucking responsibility there's a weight on you. Like,
yes.
Everywhere you go in, you have to look for threats that you didn't even think of before.
Oh,
man.
I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah. Because you're carrying this, you have to look at where the exit's at. Now you're even paying attention double time.
Yes.
And because if somebody comes in, what are they going to do? And what are they? Okay, you got to do that anyways. But now I'm carrying. So if somebody comes in and I have to pull up, so if I pull, where am I shooting? Behind them and behind the background. Like, it's stressful. It's stressful. And this is one of the main reasons why I kind of stalled on it, even though now I'm like, dude, I need to get this fucking CCW. But it's my point is, it's a responsibility that somebody's willing to take to probably save multiple lives.
Their own life, and in the course of
in the course. But if I'm saving my own life and I'm having coffee somewhere, and somebody's like, it's a responsibility that somebody's willing to take, and everybody wants to team up against them and say, no,
it's wild, dude.
No, you can't do that. You can't fucking drive a fucking 4x4 off-road truck. It's so fucking dumb.
So just yesterday, I had taken my son's about to turn 15, so he wanted to go to a jumping place with some of his buddies. So we went.
What do you mean a jumping place?
One of those trampoline parks.
Oh, okay.
So we went in. To make the long story short, the trampoline park, you may have seen. I had to literally post it as I was there on my Instagram. By the way, Triggerology_FT. They had right at the entrance a sign with the rules of the locale, one of the rules was, guess what?
No guns.
No guns, no knives, no weapons. Who was enforcing the sign? Nobody.
Right.
That the sign entirely, the policy relied on honor, right? And whoever, I'm gonna explain it this way. There are three types of people who will, notice the sign and make some sort of decision. There's only one kind that's inclined to obey it, and it's the people that have absolutely no inclination to hurting anyone.
Right.
If they happen to be concealed carrier, they would either make the decision to not come into the establishment at all, right? Or leave the firearm, which I do not advise to anyone whatsoever, leave the firearm in their car and then make entry. The other two, the ones who will...
So you're saying don't even go in the facility?
Correct. The other two kinds are the kinds that are inclined to not obey the sign, which would be the person who has some sort of evil intent to hurt people in there, or the people who know better. The people who realize that, okay, I'm looking around, there's absolutely zero security in here. It's a signed security. It's a freaking signed security that's saying that nobody in here should be armed, which for all intents and purposes, you're telling people you shouldn't have the ability to defend yourself within this establishment. What are you stopping? What are you stopping with this sign? You're stopping the ability for people to be able to defend themselves. If some knucklehead decides to walk in here and just pick victims at random.
Right.
It doesn't have to be with a gun. It can be with a knife. It can be with a freaking bat. On the other side of the parking lot, what was the establishment? It was Lowe's, a hardware store. You can walk in there, walk out with a freaking axe.
Right.
Where there are probably dozens of blunt objects in there and cutting objects that you can use to hurt and maim somebody right in that establishment, or just go and then run a few steps over to this place where it's, clogged up with kids and families,
right?
All just trying to have a good time.
Right. The point is, and again, I really been having these conversations a lot lately. The point is, because people are like, well, it's a jumper place, nothing's gonna happen.
Who needs to have a gun at a jumper place?
Yeah, and then we can come up with a billion other excuses of like, yeah, you could use a stick and you could use this fucking podcast thing and bash somebody's fucking head. That's not the point. The point is there are laws being created that bad guys are not following, and by making it more difficult for legal citizens, regardless of where it's at. Correct. Regardless, because I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, why a jumper, bro?" Like, who cares? That's not the fucking point. The point is that sign. The only people that are gonna follow that sign are law-abiding citizens.
People who are not inclined to hurt
and that's
anyone.
fucked up, because again, I'm thinking about
correct.
I'm thinking about the best case scenario of having a gun and keeping it in your car. Let's think about the best case scenario, right? I have a CCW, but I saw the sign. And you know what? I'm going to respect this policy. It's not a law. It's not a law. It's a fucking policy, which has nothing.
Correct.
Other than, it's private property and they can just ask you to leave, whatever the case is. So my best case scenario is, let me put it in the car. Because I have a CCW, I can carry it in the glove compartment and load in, but I'll lock it. And now I'm inside any business. Forget that it's a jumper, rest, whatever the case is. Now I'm at a business. Now there's a fucking guy that just came in and decided to, and fuck it, he's got a machete.
Right.
He's got a fucking machete.
Right.
And now
I'm eating, hacking away.
I'm eating tacos, and he just chopped this woman's head.
Yep.
Chopped this person's head.
Yep.
Now I have to escape this business.
Yep.
And hope I get out to then come back in, which he'll probably be waiting for me. And I'm already breaking laws because I'm coming back in because I was already
you're supposed to escape. You're supposed to escape.
And in the meantime, he's just chopping fucking heads.
Once you escaped an attack, you're not supposed to go back.
So, dude, that's fucking
yes,
crazy. Dude.
Yes. You're not once you have cleared an attack, you yourself, there's no,
unless if I have my
you will
family
have,
or my kids, and like.
sure.
But now I
that-
left the risk of
But
leaving
that's
them
going to be then up to a jury of your peers.
Oh my god, dude, it's fucking crazy, dude.
Yes, it is.
It's crazy, and all this because I've talked about this example before, and it's a subtle example, but it kind of makes the same point. It's fucked up how they pick and choose. All right, and I give this example a lot actually. Forest Lawn. Are you familiar with the exit here on Forest Lawn off the one side? So when you get off Forest Lawn, there is a group of individuals selling flowers, oranges. I mean, there's like 15 or 20 of them. Okay, you know they're not paying taxes. You know they're not doing anything legal.
Right. Business license, all that stuff.
Business,
Yeah.
none of it. None
Gotcha.
of it. And God bless them. Whatever. Do what
Sure,
you got to do.
sure. Hustle. Yep.
But my point is, police officers drive by there all the fucking time, and they never say nothing. But 5 minutes later, a police officer will pull over a Mercedes Benz or a fucking Volkswagen something, a nice car,
Yeah.
and will give a $500 ticket to somebody that's going 5 miles over the speed limit. All right.
Without a doubt.
Why? Because they have a license, they have insurance, they have registration, they
Correct.
have money. They're probably going to their job or picking up their kids from school, and they target those people. So my point is that when they start making all these laws up, they're targeting the people that they can penalize.
Correct.
They're targeting the people they can arrest and do jail time and take them out of the system because they're law-abiding citizens.
I'm yet to
And
find.
it's fucking wild.
I am
bro.
yet to find one of those laws that's actually empowering people to lead a more, fruitful life. And especially talking about the gun control, I'm yet to find one single gun control law that gives you and I a leg up, over the law-breaking victimizers, the people who lack a moral compass.
Right.
None of these laws are really crafted to give us, any sort of advantage over the people who make calculated decisions to victimize you.
Now, what would that be? What would you want to see? Because you say that, I get that half, but then what would be the opposite? What would be a reward system to that?
I will say unapologetically, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. Every gun control law is an infringement. Every gun control law should be abolished. There should be no gun control
restrictions.
laws.
There should be no restrictions.
No, because again, just like we've already established in our conversation,
I agree.
the people who are inclined to follow the law are the people who have zero inclination to hurt anybody else.
I think about this on motorcycles. It's funny because a part of me is like, well, you can't do that to everybody, but then it's like they make up laws for everybody every day, so then they can. One thing that I would love to see, I'm going to go into the motorcycle
No,
topic
go for
real
it.
quick.
Go for it.
So I'm going to get off guns and
Yep.
talk about motorcycles
Sure.
real quick. I would love if they created a system that everybody that goes through a motorcycle course, even though if they don't ride a motorcycle, will get a huge discount on their motorcycle, an incentive. Because once people ride on the back of a motorcycle or ride a motorcycle, they are so alert of all motorcycle riders, even though if they never get on a motorcycle ever again.
Right.
But they are fucking,
I've heard that before.
There's a bike.
I've heard that
there's a bike.
before. Yep,
Even if you have a friend, and I've heard this many times, even if you have a friend that rides a motorcycle, hey man, I saw your bikes, dude, it's crazy. Now I see bikes everywhere, and I'm like, oh, I move out of the way.
It just flips a switch.
It just flips a switch.
Yes.
It would be nice if there was an incentive, instead of saying no guns, no guns, no guns, no guns, if there was an incentive saying, hey, take a safety course. You don't have to buy a fucking gun, but take a safety course.
That's
learn about it, okay? Because there is situations where owning a gun's dangerous. If you buy a gun and never shot your gun or learned how to load it or learned how to fucking, unload it or, chamber it or unchamber it or whatever the case is, that is a fucking big problem.
You increase your chances for something wrong happening. It's Murphy's Law.
It's Murphy's laws, but it's also the moment you have guns, obviously I have a higher chance, you have a way higher chance of having an incident with a gun because you have a gun with you at all times.
Just like
Versus
having knives in the house.
Just like having knives in the house.
Just
Exactly.
for the mere
Exactly.
existence.
Just
Correct.
like you have more of a chance of having a car accident, you know,
Because you're driving
2 miles within your residence
Yeah.
than anywhere else, because
that-
that's where you are the most if we're using common sense.
It's because that's where you are the most, and also people drop the guard once they're
Right, they feel
around
comfortable.
familiarity.
Of course. So my point is if there was an incentive for people that don't ride motorcycles to take a motorcycle safety course just to create that awareness, and do something similar with guns, and saying, hey, if you don't want to have a gun, but you take this course, they're giving a $500 tax write-off this year off your taxes, just to create awareness.
Right.
Is that not worth it?
Right. That would be fantastic. As a Second Amendment absolutist, like I said before, the only problem I have with anything from the government is I do not want mandates. No mandates. If it's something as an incentives, like, for example, just as I heard you talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something would be cool. Like, for example, if you took a firearm safety course on your own, then we waive the CCW fee. How about that?
Right.
That would be outstanding. You know, that would be something that you're actually empowering that individual to, learn to better themselves, how to use and master these awesome tools that we have access to. And you're teaching that person to not rely on you as the government. But then that's where it hurts them. That's because that's the reason that they dislike the Second Amendment so much, because I explain it this way. The Second Amendment is really a gateway right. It really flips a switch once you have gone through all this onerous process that our government has implemented. By the way, because previous generations dropped the ball, because of the apathy of previous generations, I place it on the baby boomers back in the during the Reagan administration at the state level. Because he is the one who signed the Mulford Act that established CCW infringements in California. That's when the whole the situation with the Black Panthers was happening here in California, and then Reagan gave this that infamous speech where he said, and I'm paraphrasing, that nobody should be carrying loaded weapons in public in California. And that's when he shortly after that, he signed the Mulford Act into law, which created the CCW scheme that we now have to deal with, sadly.
Right, the mafia they've created.
Basically, I call it extortion. Rights in exchange of extortion, because you have to pay all these fees and jump through all these hoops. Again,
Right.
that the criminal element have no obligation to go through.
Follow or anything.
No,
Right,
absolutely.
you're not preventing any criminals from getting guns.
No, you're
None of
not.
these.
Or carrying them. I mean, we traverse the community day in and day
why
out.
don't people get? I mean, I know this sounds so fucking common, but
Go for it.
But why do people don't understand that?
Well, because I'm gonna make a connection. Not a lot of people connect because we pay taxes. Because we pay for the taxes, we have been promised in exchange of votes first and taxes after. We've been promised safety, and that's a promise that the people, for some reason, they just, oh yeah, I mean, I'm paying my taxes, so the government's there to protect me. And again, I'll go right back to Ronald Reagan. That's some of the things and policies that he had that I totally disagreed with and disliked. Was, he has that famous quote, "I'm from the government," and the most dangerous words you'll ever hear are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you." But that's what he did. He created a huge infringement for California citizens. Another caveat I will throw in right now, and we can talk about here in a bit, is also he is the one who closed the mental institutions in California.
That's the number one issue we have.
That's the number one
that's
issue
like
that we
the
have.
only issue. If we were going to focus on one, it would be that.
We did. That's the problem when you look at government. When you look at when there's a ill in the society, right? What we've been doing, and not just in California, but in America as a whole, when there's a bad societal, ill or issue, we look to government, to our elected officials. Do something about this. Do something about this, right? But the problem is the government, probably 100% of the times, all they do is take a freaking wrecking ball to the issue rather than going scalpel, with a scalpel and precision and fixing the issue. They just take a freaking wrecking ball like that,
Yeah, but that's bullshit too, because they let a lot of shit slide too.
Yeah, they do.
They
do, absolutely.
If we start, you and I have heard this a million times, but some people have never heard it. DUI drivers, somebody fucking gets drunk out of their fucking mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how would I word this? It's like if people are like drugs, and it's like, dude, I've seen people do more damage under the fucking influence of alcohol than drugs, and nothing happens with alcohol. Okay, and
Correct,
same thing.
correct.
There's probably more murders. I wonder. I don't know that, but if I was to guess, there's probably more murder on the roads than by guns.
Well, I mean,
if you take away police officer deaths or gang violence,
there's that also, definitions and statistics,
right? Right, because they'll be like, oh, like 50,000 people got shot by a gun, but it's like, wait a minute, how many of that was police?
The definition of murder is not the same thing as manslaughter and homicide.
What's the difference? Break them down.
Well, murder, it's you have premeditated, typically speaking, you have premeditatedly taken the life of somebody else. A homicide is, technically somebody died. Manslaughter almost pretty much the same thing. It depends on what municipality or where you're at and what they call it. Yeah. So you can come up with whatever statistics you want depending on
right. It doesn't mean anything, but the point is if you compare drugs to alcohol, the government allows alcohol and protects alcohol and is cool with alcohol, and great. I mean, awesome.
We tried the prohibition. Right.
Oh yeah, it turned to shit. That's what made Cuba, Cuba was like, hey, Cuba grew from that, obviously, But same thing with the guns, like you get so strict with gun control, but it's not helping. More gun control you have, do you realize it's only helping the bad guys?
Yes, they say if it saves only one life, it'll be worth it. But they neglect how many lives they get correct. Think about, we could bring up so many scenarios, but one that's very highly contended right now is red flag laws and domestic violence restraining orders, where they are trying to say, and there's a really big case that's about to go to the Supreme Court, actually, whether someone who is a batterer, do they have a right to keep and bear arms, mind you, prior to being convicted. So there's issues with due process come in. We have
that's I'm gonna kind of ask. Let's just avoid that one, because that one there's I'm not saying yes or no, but the problem is we're going to get so into the details, or people are going to stick onto those details. Like, oh man, that guy's a wife beater. Yeah, he shouldn't have. That's not even the fucking point. Okay, that's another conversation. We're talking about the general blanket in America, the general blanket in California, in Los Angeles County. If I live in Santa Clarita, I can get a CCW, very fast. If I'm in LA, I can't. I have to jump through hoops, and I have to kiss ass, and I have to like dress up nice, and I want to exercise my right, and that's
that used to be the way.
Bigger issue, right?
That used to be the way until
elaborate on that.
That used to be the way, actually.
But if we get caught up on those other conversations, people are gonna stick to that and it's like, dude, that's not even that's like 10% of
Correct.
the fucking bigger issue.
I get you.
Yeah.
So
Because I know my listeners, and I know there's some that,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
well, you can send them my way. We can have the conversation because this is all very nuanced. It's all very nuanced, very granular, and you have to.
And I'm not doing it for them. I could just already hear that's like we're focusing on something bigger. That you're right, but trust me, like I don't want people to hang on to that the wife beater. Okay, because at the end of the day, he has his right to fucking defend himself.
Correct.
Until proven guilty.
Correct.
And that's something that we say all the time, or we hear all the time, until proven guilty. But that seems like bullshit. It's like until proven innocent. You know, like is really, because in the meantime you're gonna be handcuffed. In the meantime you're gonna be kicked out of your house. Can't see your family or anything else.
What I will say about that, and then we can move on, is it all boils down to this: you cannot make a dangerous or violent person harmless without incarceration. If the person is out here roaming the streets, you can say that they don't have access to guns because lawfully or in the background check system, it says that this person cannot purchase a gun legally. But yet, if they still are free to roam the streets, to walk into Home Depot, to go anywhere and acquire,
get behind the car, the wheel of a car.
Get behind, exactly. Yeah. They are not harmless. They're not rendered harmless. You've just virtue signaled. That's it. That's all you did.
Right.
I'm just keeping it real.
So to that point that many people make, another factor is just because you're not allowing someone to get a gun legally is not preventing anybody from doing any harm. No. Even if he was a wife beater or a child beater or whatever the fucking case is. There are people that drown kids. There are people that beat their wives to death with their bare hands.
You have just it's going to sound harsh. Okay. You've just incentivized their creativity.
Okay, so
to exercise their evil.
Devil's advocate. I'm going to give me a situation, and honestly, give me a situation where you think a gun could have had an advantage, and by taking the gun away, they lost that advantage. What would be one advantage of an extreme situation?
The batterer?
For the batterer.
If you need to remove the guns from the batterer, you should be removing the batterer from society.
Right. So if you can't remove the batterer from society because you don't have any probable cause, then that means they should be able to, defend themselves.
That's the way that our system is built.
And this is one situation of many. Please do not
absolutely
fucking use this as a fucking excuse to in that case, in that case, you have your own opinion. Cool. But this is bigger.
The bottom line is you want to render a dangerous person harmless, you need to take them out of society.
Right.
However, with due process, you have to afford them due process because that is the way that our system in the United States is built.
Okay, now I have a question for you that I know you're going to counter very good, and I want to hear your counter on this. We both agree America doesn't have a gun problem. They have a mental health problem.
100%.
We agree with that? 100%. Good. Now, this is kind of my thing. That fucking test to get a gun, that
in California, the FSC, the Firearm Safety Certificate,
is very, very, very basic. Very basic. That I know of mental health
I administer that test. I know.
Yeah. There's some stuff like, this is an example. What's the best way to, have your gun? Just an example. I know this is a bad example, but it's like, keep it very safe or keep it dangerous, that's
what it boils down to.
Yeah. Like give it to your kid.
Right.
Leave it outside in front of your house.
Yes.
Like fucking one more,
or unloaded, completely unloaded, and in your safe. What is the safest?
Or locked up and safe.
It's just like that.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
Now, Do you think that should be a little bit more strict, or do you think we shouldn't even have a test, or what do you stand? Because we do have a mental health issue.
Right.
How do we prevent a fucking 18-year-old abused kid, that is really fucking abused? Let it be drugs or parent abuse or whatever the case is. How do we prevent certain people from accessing? Because, hey, man, I believe everybody should be able to be, protect themselves. And I knew you were going to counter this. Good. But where do you stand, or what do you think?
Yeah, you can go ahead and create, which they did here in California. They outlawed, you have to be over 21 to purchase any firearm at all. Here in California, there are, and I know you said, and I know you said when you had turned 18, you bought your first firearm. That's no longer the case.
Really? I wasn't aware
for California, but it is being challenged. The whole and there's a lot of states that are going through the same situation as well. The thing is, again, my brain has to go through the logical steps. Okay, you took away the ability for an 18-year-old troubled whatever. You put it in your little background system. You made a note. This kid was held in a 5150, right? An involuntary commitment. Yeah, you went ahead and did all those steps. If the kid is still roaming the streets, the kid can still hurt someone. The kid does not need a firearm to hurt someone. Just like any other adult.
I like what you did there. Yeah. That's the point. The point is.
So how do we prevent? You cannot prevent a dangerous person from.
Right.
You cannot stop him from being harmless. What you can do, however, is remove as many roadblocks that you have placed as possible for good people to be able to defend themselves.
Now, why do you think a normal person, great point and great answer, by the way. Why do you think, because it's all a big fucking brainwash, why do you think a normal fucking citizen wouldn't want to have a gun in their home to protect themselves?
Yeah. I mean, I can chalk it up to upbringing. If your parents never instilled in you that you are capable of amazing things, that's one thing.
That's a small thing. Because I mean, if you come from another country, the first thing you're gonna raise your kids, and you'll be like, we gotta follow the laws and
right. Keep the whole, keep your head down, don't make waves type of thing. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. If it's just not in you, because I've gotten it many times that those are the most vivid and strong comments that I get on my socials, for example, is the people who cannot see themselves hurting anyone, even if. But here's how I'll give you my counter argument here in a bit. The people who cannot see themselves executing violence, they're just, if you're 100% pacifist, right? You pacifist, whether it's because of your, moral convictions or your religious conviction. Your religion says that the whole turn the other cheek, if they take it to the extreme, never hurt anyone, even if it's to defend your own life. There are people out there who say that. But the way that I counter it is, again, is your life worthy of defending? Is your life worthy of defending with whatever tool? Is your life worth defending with one of these implements?
Right.
Tell me why yes or why no. Oh yeah, I can defend. I could defend my life with a 9mm shield hanging. Okay, good. Would you be able to defend yourself with a rifle? No. Why not? Why? Who needs to have a weapon of war, which is the
right.
Who needs to have a weapon of war? Well, I mean, are you not? If somebody comes to, hurt you, whatever, are you not engaged in a small person-to-person battle? Is this not a, instant war between you and your assailant or group of assailants, like it happened to Mr.
Right.
Richie? Why not have, these thugs have taken the steps to come and victimize you. You're already behind the Powerball, behind the power curve, excuse me. Why not have the best implements possible? Why do you want to have, why do you think it's okay for the government to say that you can only have 10 rounds in your magazine? Why not have a 30 round?
Right.
Why not have 3 points of contact? What's a 3 point of contact? Well, 3 points of contact means that your firearm is more stable. You're going to be more accurate. Every single round that you squeeze out, it's much more possible that it will hit the intended target because you own every single round that comes out of it. People don't take those steps, the logical steps, sequential steps of a possible, self-defense encounter, and what would go against you and what would go for you in that scenario if you are forced into a scenario like that.
No. And then just for the record,
that was a long answer.
No. But you triggered a few things. Pun intended, not intended. The other thing is, look, we know this is for the people that don't, guns or anti-guns.
It's the guns.
We know we don't need 100 bullets to defend ourselves. We know that for the most part. And we know that if we're going to get involved in a shootout, hopefully it's not going to be more than a few rounds.
I'm gonna counter that. But go for it.
What I was going to say is, the idea is it shouldn't be more than a few rounds. But why not have more in case you need more? Because now their friend comes out of the car, and now that's a different situation. Or guess what? They have a gun that has 30 rounds.
Yep.
And mine,
it's 10.
You get a shield like this, and it's 7.
And it's 7. Yeah. Yep.
In California.
And you're forced.
And in California, you go somewhere else, you can get something like this, and it has at least 12 or 10, whatever the case is. This is obviously for the concealed one, but
and all of a sudden if you expended.
And I'm not justifying the smaller rounds. I'm saying we should be able to carry.
I got you. Yeah, but I can explain it. If you have had to expend your rounds, now you have to reload, but the bad guy doesn't have to reload because the bad guy didn't care about the magazine capacity laws.
Right, of course.
They have the standard capacity magazines, but why must you be forced by an uninterested party, which is the government? Why must you be forced to have inferior firepower to defend your life?
Now,
how is that fair?
It's not.
It's not.
Do you agree with that statement? It's better to be judged by 12 than be taken out by what is it? How is it?
Yeah. It's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
You only have one life. That's it. I mean,
so because that saying or that expression is based on like, dude, even if you're a criminal, I don't want to say criminal
by statute.
Right.
Criminal by statute. By
statute.
Yep.
But you're better to carry a gun with you at all times, no matter what kind of deal. You should do it the legal way, but you should be. What? Okay.
There shouldn't be laws.
There shouldn't be laws, right? But there is.
But there are. Correct.
But when it's strict, oh man, I don't like when it's strict. You would still advise somebody to be like, hey, dude, keep it in your car.
So no, I don't advise anyone to
break
get
laws
in the car because I mean we've seen it. People are getting their cars broken into for a freaking suitcase for stupid shit.
Right.
And you can very much lose a gun. These guys are bold and these guys are nifty. They find ways to open up compartments that you may think that are locked, and they just steal your damn car with the gun in it.
It's like the safes. Like people are like, oh look, I got a fucking $4,000 safe. They can't break in. Well, they're just still the safe, dude.
They're just still the safe
If you don't
didn't
bolt
it
it
down. Correct. So take whatever steps possible if you are
step saves.
What's that?
Steps, safe steps.
Safe steps. Yeah. Take whatever steps possible. Carry your gun with you, if at all possible. But I will go into the decision of people make to carry unlawfully, and it's because that's where we go into the prohibitive cost and all the hoops that people have to jump through. You have to take time off of work. Chances. So I'm gonna tell you just by what I've heard from students, they cannot take time off of work because rent is fucking sky high. The classes are hundreds of dollars because now for LA County, I really need to break this down to your audience of how unfair these laws are, especially for the concealed carry laws. Not only do they create these minimums of hours of training that you have to get, but they've also made a list, which is, and it's enforced by the law, of approved trainers. I'm a firearms instructor. Here's the part where I don't get favor from my peers in the firearm instructor community. And I have no problem with saying this. The law states that you have to go to an approved instructor, which creates a funnel.
Right.
You have to go to any of these particular instructors. They don't make it too hard for an instructor to get into that list, but then you have a captive audience. You can charge whatever the heck you want.
Right.
We have instructors out here making
a living,
dude. Some I'm not gonna criticize them too harsh, but
they're taking advantage of the situation.
That's not fair, and that is why, on principle, I have stayed out of the CCW. I will not become a CCW instructor through the.
Wouldn't that be a reason to become a CCW instructor, or it's just a?
Which is what my wife said. You could be making money, but it's just my principles, dude. My principles do not
making
allow
money, but
me.
You could probably do it at a more affordable. Affordable.
I could. I really dislike the essence of profiting from a completely unfair system.
Right.
Because again, you are making people have to take time off of work if they can at all. They have to pay these exorbitant fees, not just for the training, but for the background check. Everything is paid for by the citizen.
Right.
How is that empowering them? How is that fair compared to the thug or thuggette? Maybe I made a new word.
Thuggette.
Who is
good one?
Who is carrying
Mr. Mayso?
Who is carrying a firearm completely outside of the law frameworks?
Right.
How's that helping you? The only way that it helps you is obviously you're gonna get training, you're gonna get trigger time and stuff like that, and learn about escalation of force and all that stuff. That's all fine, but it's just I refuse to profit from that system.
So I'll tell you a personal experience.
Yeah,
I reached out to you 2-3 weeks ago. Okay, so I know a couple federal agents, and they hit me up. One I met by accident. I had an incident, and he ended up detaining me. And then we became best friends after.
Okay.
So he's like, "Hey, dude, you need to get your CCW," and I was like, "Fuck, man, you're right," And then I got another buddy of mine. He's like, "Dude, you gotta get your CCW." And you, last time you were on the podcast, like, get your CCW. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I kind of was like hesitant is because like I got my guns, blah blah blah. Fuck, I can't take them with me. But that stress or that pressure of having it with me at all times, whatever the case is, I kind of avoided that. Now I'm regretting it because now I'm like, dude, I really want my CCW, and it's an obstacle.
It's much more not to have it
My
on
point,
you.
it's much more stressful.
Yes.
It's much more stressful. And I'm going to lose my mind. Now, my point to what you're saying, since I've spoken to you, I think I was late last month or whatever, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Dude, I've reached out to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. I've reached out to the Los Angeles Police Department. I've looked at the Department of Justice. I've already filled out forms. I've been jumping through hoops. I've called trainers, instructors, ones that are certified, some that are not certified. I fucking sent emails out. Nobody has fucking responded to me. And this has caused 3 weeks of me going nowhere. I have not even advanced or not, I'm in the same fucking place as 3 weeks ago. And this is somebody that has experience owning guns and wants to get it. And I don't know how the fuck to get it. Yes, Los Angeles, the Sheriff's Department here. But then they're like, click here to see if your address works. Guess what? I click on that link. That link does not work. That link doesn't do shit.
It's so
then
sad
I do the Los Angeles Police Department.
It's by the sign.
It's by what?
It's by the sign. That whole unworkable system. That's by the sign.
Design.
Yes.
By design, yeah. I think you said it was a sign. I was like, what do you mean? No.
No, it's by the sign because it's made to
it's
chill.
To avoid like, oh, okay, there was a
it's so much hassle. I don't know.
I don't want to deal with it.
Yes.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm telling you, right now, I'm realizing, motherfucker, they got me. Yes. That design fucking got me because they're not calling me back.
Yes.
I'm not getting any information. I'm hesitant on continuing my application because I don't even know if I'm applying to the right department, which I guess it doesn't even matter at this point. I should just be fucking applying and going through it. But it's all by design. It's motherfucker.
And you still have to go out here and traverse these communities. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's keeping tabs on you. Oh, that dude, that's the motorcycle dude. Yeah, I think I want a motorcycle.
Right.
You don't know, and you don't know what type of, what.
Maybe they're gonna find out my studio here is in Texas, and they'll be like, "Aha, we know where it's at."
Any number of variables, and these laws, these gun safety laws, they are not empowering you in any way, shape, or form to keep to actually legitimately make you safe.
Right.
They are not. And that's why I'm so adamant about it, of people paying attention, reaching out to their public servants, a.k.a. politicians, people in elected office, whenever they are coming up with, we're coming up with a new gun safety law. We're going to institute an 11% tax on everything related to, sales around firearms, which Gavin Newsom signed into law last month, establishing an additional 11% sales tax on anything related to firearms.
July next year.
I believe, I believe it's kicking in July next year. How is that helping anyone?
How is that helping? Right. How is that preventing criminals?
No.
How is that preventing crime? How is that preventing theft and robbery and any bad thing? How is that preventing? What is that? What is it preventing?
And it's
other
what is
than
preventing?
legal citizens from affording.
There you go.
To buy to protect themselves.
That is the only thing that it's going to prevent. It's going to prevent people and
this is coming from a governor
that
has armed security guard around him at all times.
Not only armed security around him at all times, but who likes to virtue signal along with his entire party that they are for the little people, that they are for the poor and the vulnerable. But here you are turning right around and signing pieces of legislation into law that effectively place more blocks, more roadblocks into those people, the people inside those vulnerable communities, their ability to defend themselves.
Vulnerable communities meaning where they don't have private gates. They don't have private gates protecting them.
Yep.
They live in buildings where people are under the influence or whatever, or they live next to neighborhoods, a mile away.
All those cases, all the above. Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah, that's why.
It'd be cool.
What's up?
would be cool if there was, if each city had a point of contact of where, like for example, where I'm saying the sheriff's department, the police department, I don't know if I got LPD, who do I get a hold of? This is that. It'd be cool if I could call somebody. Like I call you and be like, what steps do I take? Because you know what's interesting? I spoke to 2 federal agents, a gun advocate, and attorneys, 2 different attorneys, and everybody's like, yeah, you should do this. But nobody was able to give me a direct. Nobody was like, hey,
I design.
Nobody said, Robertico, look, what you got to do, bro, you got to talk to this store. You got to knock twice here. You got to talk to Fernando. They'll give you the paperwork. Yeah. Here, let me email, like, go to my website. And
that would be
you
empowering.
That on your website, too.
See, that would
that on your website. All the forms, DOJ, whatever, and the basic steps.
Well, the thing is, I could, but the thing is, managing that, if they, with as much, as constantly as the laws change here in California and more laws that they add into it, by the time I post stuff, the next month it's going to be, obsolete. So
We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
That's why I side on just get rid of the damn laws. These laws are not empowering.
Hermano, todo el mundo está de acuerdo contigo, pero eso no está pasando. Like even if you clear out the laws right now, it's still going to take 5 years, whatever the case is, and then you got to hope that
I agree.
The world doesn't. Then you hope. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. By the time they take that law away, it's gonna be too late. Like it's gonna be too late. Well, like, this place is gonna be fucking on fire.
Correct. The problem is
like Israel. Yep. Right now they have gun laws.
Yes.
They just removed every single fucking gun law right now, so everybody can arm themselves and protect themselves.
Well, they issued the government issued guns with a very small amount of rounds. I think it was like 100 rounds. That's it.
100 rounds per person.
I think it was, and I haven't looked into it too much, but it seemed, by looking at an event that they had, there was a video of where some people, I think from the police or the military, they were handing out rifles. It appeared to me that there are chances that it was well-connected individuals who got those firearms.
Well,
that's the problem.
After the
attack, yeah.
I thought after the attack, they did a temporary, removed all restrictions and allowed every citizen to protect themselves because of the attack.
Well, see, that's...
I'm not sure. I wish I had somebody to look at.
I still disagree with that. They should be... That should not be the damn business of the government. That shouldn't... But
so if the government has a ban, you applaud it. Okay.
I applaud it if they removed it, but...
Yeah, but before when it was in effect, yes, certain individuals I'm sure were able to carry, but the regular population or the general population, my understanding, I don't.
I just watched the video. It was all dudes.
Yeah,
it was all dudes, and they were shaking the hand of the whoever it was, the politician or cops that were, and it just gave me the vibe. I was like, how do I know that all these people don't know you? How do I know that these are just regular schmoes? Yeah, hey, we removed all restrictions. Please come and get these firearms. They're all paid for by your taxes. Go on, vaya con Dios.
I didn't even know they were giving.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought they were just allowing people to buy.
That's what bothers me. It should be removing all restrictions, and I don't want to use the word allow. Remove yourself from in between the people and the right to defend themselves. That's all.
It bothers you a lot, huh?
It really does. It really does, because again, you as a government, you as a politician, Gavin Newsom, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all these people, they are not going to be there. Should you be victimized? They're not going to be there. Their personal security detail won't be there to defend you. It's on you, and by that same token, they should not be placing restrictions on your ability to defend yourself. It's just it's immoral. I see it as very immoral that they because they were elected into that office, that now they have this ability to restrict people's ability to defend themselves. No, man.
What do you think it's the cause of that? Do you think it's because they
Control.
were okay, yeah, there's that. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think it also has to do with they've been raised in better communities and never seen that situation and never saw a reason to hold a gun?
And if they have been raised in those communities, there's a thing about getting into a powerful office that all of a sudden you're in there long enough, you get disconnected, detached from the things that you and I, all regular people, go through every single day. Listen, last night I had picked up food, and I was on my way back to the house. Something as simple as a lane change. It was dark already. As a lane change, the light. I'm 2 streets away from the house. The light turns to green. It was only two cars. It was myself and the car in front of me. It was an older Toyota Tercel, like an early 2000s. I could see that there were 3 individuals in the car. When the light turned red, it was kind of very suddenly. I made a split-second decision to get into the lane behind that car. It's a 2 lanes going that way towards my house. I made the split-second decision, got right back into them. That must have set them off, like got them kind of weirded out. Like,
what the fuck? Yeah.
So when the light turns green, they start going really slow. They did not go over 10 miles. And then all of a sudden, they started brake checking me. I'm like, why are these guys doing this? Like, oh, shit. Maybe they thought that I was like somebody from a rival gang or something like that spotted them and got right behind them. I had to make the choice. Okay, I'm going to have to, the next light, I get to turn to go to my house. I had to stick behind them as they were brake checking me, like trying to get me to do something. I could have gone around them, but then what do? I'm carrying. I was carrying.
Right.
I'm always carrying. I could have gotten in front of them, but what does that do to me? That puts me now at a disadvantage where I don't have full view of what it is that they're doing. Maybe these guys were out and about casing people, and maybe I got myself into a situation where now they choose me as their possible target. So what did I have to do? I just very calmly just stayed right behind them. I was probably going going like 5 miles an hour. And then I turned to my house, and I was carrying off body. I was carrying in a concealed carry bag that I have that's right here in the chest. They were acting so freaking shady off of something that I do all the freaking time, dude. If you do city driving, you do those sudden lane changes, and you don't expect that somebody who's in front of you is going to trip out over that.
Right.
So here I am. Dude, I was like, fuck. I opened up my bag to expose my gun to make sure that I got to get ready. These dudes decide to slam the brakes and get off the car. I gotta get ready, and this may be it. But thankfully, they just kept on going, and I went my way. But that's the type of thing. That's the type of scenario where the typical anti-Second Amendment individual will say, well, who needs a gun to go pick up pizza? Well, motherfucker, you don't know what's in the head of all these people that are here that we're sharing this society with.
Right.
You need to be ready to respond in whatever way it's necessary.
Yeah.
So that's why I also do not blame the people who choose to carry. They have not gone through the process, jumping through all these government imposed hoops. I don't blame them when they decide, I'm just going to carry because my life is more important. I need to be here for my kids and my wife. I cannot, become a victim of this gang that's ruling my neighborhood. I'm just going to carry my gun. I can't. I have to work 7 days a week. I cannot go to this government prescribed, training. I don't fault them. As an instructor myself, that I could be profiting from that, I do not fault people who make those choices.
Yeah.
Because these laws are not there to help them.
Yeah, my issue is it's all fucked up. That's my fucking issue.
Yeah.
My issue is you hear about these fucking situations where they catch people and they're the bad guys and they have guns and they release them. And then you have a good dude that, you know, fucking gets pulled over and the police officer's like, hey, what's going on? Oh, I'm just going to my business, you know, blah, blah. Oh, do you have any weapons in the car? Well, officer, to be honest, yeah, I just bought myself a gun, you know, because things are crazy.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Put your hands on the wheel.
Yep.
All right. Vehicle's turned off. All right. Step out of the vehicle, sir.
Yep.
And fucking now this great citizen being 70, 60, 50 years old.
They wear the scarlet letter.
They wear the fucking scarlet letter.
Yep.
They take
You're
away
a
his
criminal
fucking
now.
gun
Yes.
because they made it too fucking devastating to fucking
Yes.
do it the legal
Yes.
way. And he didn't speak good English, but he's been a fucking tax citizen and employs 6 people
Yep.
and has 4 kids in a private school. And his wife has another business. And the family's been given to society. And this is the fucking guy you target because he has money and he has all that.
Absolutely.
But if you're un culi cagado, malcriado de la calle, and which means some punk ass kid that has 0 responsibilities, and you got a fucking gun that's not even registered,
Right.
that's fucking serial numbers are all fucking scratched up with fucking who knows what, and it's probably been attached to other fucking murders. You get a slap in the hand because
They
they're like,
will
oh, I
be
can't.
released the same day with
This
a
guy-
misdemeanor.
Yeah, this guy can't pay for anything. Let's just give him a misdemeanor. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Fucking kick rocks.
Wild.
And that's like,
literally-
fuck, man. Like that's the fuck. I'm not gonna say I think about this for myself, but I think about this for other people, and it's like, fuck, man. Okay, my CCW is gonna take blah 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 blah. It's so fucking hard to get. Fucking blah. You know, if I did carry, I'm the biggest fucking target. I'm the biggest target because if the moment comes that I get pulled over, they're like, hey, dude, you know, and I'm with my, you know, my kids or whatever the case is. Hey, dude, like, do you have a gun? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, and now I have to say this.
Yeah, because
and
if
now
you lie,
depending-
that's
right.
even tacked down even more.
Exactly. So I'm not gonna lie. I can't lie about it. And now this guy was carrying a gun illegally with this child. Like, dude, dude, I'm traumatized because I've seen that shit unfold so many fucking times to good fucking people.
Yes.
And guess what? I know good guys. I know bad guys. I've seen bad guys. They've told me, they're like, I got away with this. I'm like, what? You know, even again, this has nothing to do with nothing, but just to give you a train of thought. Mi abuelo, you know, he would say, you're better having mafioso friends versus police friends.
Interesting.
Because when shit hits the fan, your police friends are going to say, I can't help you, bro. I'm not going to lose my job. And the mafioso friends are going to be like, where, when, what? You know what I mean? And again, this was a time of when Cuba was Cuba. In Havana, this was not in America. He never even made it to America, you know, because he was scared. He was scared. You know what he said? He goes, I'll never go to America. And this is when my mom came in 1961. He's like, I'll never go to America. Once you fall in this, for whatever reason, he goes, once you fall into the police or the prison system or like jail or court system, once you fall into the system of the United States, you're marked. You just said it. You're marked. And he was devastated at that. He's like, dude, you know, it's a great place to be, but if you jaywalk or fucking break any law that they decide to pick on you, you are fucking marked.
Yep.
And that's the devastation with those kind of things.
Yeah, you're marked for those who commit offenses, who land them in jail or in prison, even after they serve their sentence, which is what we theoretically, right, prescribe as this is your debt to society.
Right.
But you still pay interest once they let you out.
Right.
You're paying interest for the rest of your life. And
rest of your life.
And I believe I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Because we all make mistakes. Growing up, I made mistakes that could have, marked me. I just never got caught. Being young and dumb, right? young and dumb. This is back from when I was in NPR. I mean, I will admit, I drove drunk many times.
Right.
Because in PR, people start drinking.
Puerto Rico, just in case if you guys don't understand, but
people start drinking, in your mid-teenage years, 16 years old.
Right.
Which is the time that you also get to start driving. And I never got caught. I never got into a wreck, right?
Right.
Drunk, thankfully. But yeah, that could have, for the rest of my life, that's it. It's over. And what we do in this country, which I think it's completely unfair, and it's also why I like to say that gun control reform is also justice reform. Because if we were to finally, once and for all, declare that the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution is the only permit that you need, we should go back and expunge, clear the record of everyone who got marked with that scarlet letter. Oh, you were carrying without a permit in the state of California, where that type of offense is non-existent in right now 28 states, 27 states in the union. You do not catch gun possession charges. Why? Because it's in the damn Constitution. It's in the Second Amendment. But here in California, we, again, going back to the Mulford Act, the baby boomers allowed Ronald Reagan to criminalize the exercise of a constitutional right. And that's very unfair. Very unfair.
What's the charge for that?
For gun possession?
Yeah.
I can't, but it's not. I'm gonna tell you, it's not good. It's not good. That
whatever it is, it ain't
whatever
good.
it is, it ain't good. Because it goes into your record. Oh, you were caught with possessing.
Right now, every time you get pulled over for speeding or stop sign,
there you go.
You have people pulling out guns,
and then they keep on tacking it on, and that's how they create that revolving door of the prison industrial complex. Yes, sir. Completely unfair. Where so many other states in the union, you will not catch a charge just because you have a gun on you. Now, if you go and you are doing mischief with that gun, that's another story. That's not the Second Amendment. You are not practicing your Second Amendment rights if you are victimizing others. But if you're just going about your day because this is your tool to protect yourself, in other states it's good. But here in California, it's a criminal offense, and that's not fair. That's an unjust system. That's not a justice system. That's unjust.
Especially in LA, where it's like certain counties and this board, here you're okay, here you're not okay.
Correct.
Like, it's so fucking...
No. It's
injustice.
Correct. We are all still, even though we live in California, we are still citizens of the United States. We should be treated and afforded the respect as such. It says so in the damn Constitution. So that's why I'm so adamant. That's why I'm so adamant about the abolishment of all gun laws, because it just
what's your background? Like how did you get into guns? What attracted you to them? Was it the way you were raised? Were you introduced lately? Were you military?
I served in the Marine Corps.
We just had Veterans Day. Thank you, man. Thank you for your services.
I served in the Marine Corps 9.5 years. Got out back in 2011. When I first got married back in 2003, but by 2004. No, I think 2003 I had bought my first gun already. I still have it to this day.
In 2004?
2003, 2004, that was the time frame where I bought my first gun. But it wasn't until circa 2013 I had already gotten out. I was working in a nonprofit, and there was a gun range really nearby, and I was really cool with my coworkers. And I took them to the range probably 2-3 times for lunch, just because during lunch, hey, let's go to the shooting range. And then some of my coworkers, Valdo, that's my nickname. Valdo, you're really good at teaching. Why don't you do this as a side gig? And I'm like, That was it. But prior to that, I had taught, other people.
But it was casual. It was casual.
Like most other people.
It's not like a superhero story where,
No,
something
right.
devastating and then the Joker, yeah.
Like most other gun owners do, right? Hey, let's go shoot. I know you're not a gun owner. Let's go shoot. But I took the steps. I, got creative, made my my brand, Triggerology, and what year was it? 2016 was when I first got certified, and then from there on out, it went because of the way that I was raised and my convictions, my life experiences. I decided to also dip
Not
into
convictions,
the my what's another word for convictions? Just my principles,
Right,
because
your
my
principles.
principles. I also decided to dip into the advocacy side because it just didn't feel right to only just teach people about guns, but what's behind why is it that we have this right? What is it that the founding fathers went through? No shit, they had just gone through the Revolutionary War. We had kicked off the biggest empire of that time, the United Kingdom, right? We were no longer, the United States was going to be born not as subjects, but as citizens. And that's why I alluded to earlier that the Second Amendment is a gateway right, man. It really shifts the way that you see your relationship with the government. What type of relationship you're going to have. Are you going to allow yourself to be treated as a subject by the people who we place into power, right, in elected office, or you're going to act like a citizen? And I choose to be a citizen. Yeah. And you and I like to bring up, family. When you're a parent and you have lived your entire life with some sort of, level or understanding of what freedom and liberty is, and you see, because you also have to be paying attention. You can't just be looking at dumb shit on TikTok all day.
Right.
Once you have seen, the decision of taking that red pill is daily, or the blue pill of just whatever the government says, whatever, right. or the empty suit on the 5 o'clock news, right? No, I want my kids to also live free. Once they become adults, I want them to be free. I see where the country is going and the state is going. I do not want them to be subjects or treated as subjects.
Right.
So part of the things that I do is, the best example that we can, how we learn is by example, seeing what our parents do. And I want my kids to see me fighting for liberty and rights, even if it's to my detriment, where, I get all these knuckleheads and people accusing me of, you must like kids to be killed at school, all that nonsense.
So fucking stupid. That's the opposite of what we want.
Correct.
And fighting for the Second Amendment and partaking into the Second Amendment and doing all these courses is only proof that we're against that kind of bullshit.
Absolutely.
Y al contrario, people that don't take that initiative is even more concerning, that you don't want to protect your life or your family's life or prevent that from happening to other people.
Yeah, it's like I just can't comprehend.
It's the opposite of like, you're for guns, you did gun. You're anti-guns, so you're for the bad guys owning guns, you bitch. Because there's only two choices if you think about it. There's using the law and owning a fucking gun legally, against the bad guys owning guns, or we don't get guns and they only get guns, and then the police that we already know are not going to fucking risk their own lives get guns. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
it's so stupid. It's so obvious, but people don't. It's there, bro, but it's like it's not there.
Well, it's because for most of us, we love peace. Like we alluded to before, this is not about loving war or violence.
Yeah.
We love peace. We need to have the implements to secure that peace.
Right.
Even if it comes to the point where you have to execute what we call righteous violence. You cannot allow only certain segments of society to have that access to the ability to execute violence. That has to be equally shared among all sectors of society.
Right.
The government that has a monopoly on violence is a government that you cannot stop. That's going to be a subject, government that you're going to find yourself. If it's not you, it's going to be your kids or your grandkids that are going to be subject to unfathomable, situations of possible tyranny, and I do not want my kids to go through that.
What tips would you give, or what do you wish you knew that you didn't know about having a CCW for people like me that want their CCW?
Okay.
And tips and whatever tips.
Yeah.
And then also, what's your favorite way to? I don't know if you want to talk about it on camera, but favorite way of carrying. You mentioned the bag.
Yeah, I can talk
holster,
about all that
leather,
stuff.
all that stuff.
I have no problems talking about all that stuff. I make no apologies whatsoever. I will answer it in two different ways, and I will also use it to encourage people to advocate for their rights. Right. A tip for becoming comfortable. Like you alluded to before, that what's held you back and all that. You're just having you need to get into the mindset that if you like to be a prepared individual, like I like to believe that most people are. You don't want to be caught off guard. That's why we carry a little thing of Band-Aids in the car or whatever, a fire extinguisher,
insurance for car,
insurance,
gas in your tank,
exactly,
fucking toothpaste in your bathroom,
exactly,
toilet paper in your
all of the correct
right.
Toilet paper,
bidet, bro, bidet.
Oh yeah.
It's all about
absolutely.
bidet, bro.
Bidets are good. Bidets are good. I installed one in my house. I will admit. There's no reason to be apologetic or have any issues or be timid or shy about having the ability to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Not at all. So in essence, once you get into the mindset that, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the house strapped. It's just as when you get into the car, you're going to place that seatbelt around you.
Put on your shoes, put on your socks, put on fucking calzones.
That's it. That's it. The only thing is, once you get into that mindset, it's like leaving the house without a watch for those of us who wear a watch or the phone.
Right.
People will feel naked, right? If they're not carrying the phone. That's the same thing for myself. Now, if I, for some reason, have left the house because I'm going to my mother-in-law's house that's 2 minutes away from the house. Sometimes I will leave the gun. Sometimes I'll bring it because I just don't know. Just because the same reason why.
The move is you keep a gun at her house that's yours behind un cuadro or something,
Right.
John Wick, that thing. That's
cool.
the move.
That would be cool. But yeah, so you get comfortable with the idea of now you're prepared for everything, that may present. But then you have to get into, okay, what type of wardrobe, which is what you asked me about. You may look weird sometimes, but stuff that has broken pattern, like freaking tie-dye T-shirts or stuff like that. Stuff that has broken pattern, that hides very easily if you are concealing on your body, which means that you have it. For women have more areas in their body to hide firearms than men typically do, like in between the breasts. There are all kinds of fantastic,
right,
women-owned companies that are helping women to conceal carry. Fantastic for whether it's on-body concealed carry or off-body, which means that you have it in a backpack or a fanny pack, whatever the case may be. So it's a lot of trial and error, just for people who are just getting into it or are thinking about getting into it. It's going to be trial and error. It is what it is. You may see a holster on Instagram or whatever on Amazon. Oh, that's cool. And people has good reviews or whatever. And then you buy it and then you find that it's not the best for you. It is what it is. You're going to have to kind of
front,
trial and
back,
error. All that. You need to try all of those. A lot of the advertisement that you're gonna see for concealed carry, for example, for holsters, is gonna be people that are super freaking fit, like 2% body fat.
Yeah.
They have no
exactly.
problem.
Like the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see them lift up their shirt and they got 6-pack, no fat, no body fat, so everything sits
flat,
just fine, no problem. But then
Get
when
the
you
fuck
do
outta
the
here.
same thing, like me, you have a little pudge,
Like,
and
wait a
then
minute.
the gun kind of like pops out.
Yeah.
So then you have to adjust. You have to look at.
But do you do
different-
back or front?
I carry appendix,
Appendix.
1 o'clock.
Back or front? Look at my fucking back or front? Yeah, appendix.
Back is what we.
So appendix and kidney
look,
would be the thing.
appendix is right here. In the
I understand. And then the back would be what?
The back we colloquially we call it Mexican carry.
Mexican carry, really?
Yep.
That's funny because yeah.
They're
Mexicans. Yeah.
Any movie or show you watch with Mexican bandoleros or whatever they always have.
I'm talking about my legit guys too.
In the crack of their.
I'm talking about legit guys that are from there. They yeah. Hilarious.
So that's colloquially known
But you have no
as,
problem
Mexican
sitting
carry.
down when you're in the front.
Well, it all depends what kind of gun you have. If you have a full size gun, if you try to conceal carry this 1911, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But then if you try to conceal carry like your little shield over there,
Right.
that's gonna be a little bit better. But it all depends, and then you can go through the entire clock. Look at your waistband as the clock, and you just try what feels better, what conceals better. But also you need to go through the whole motions of how you clear your clothing garment and how do you present the gun, because it needs to work properly.
Right.
We're talking about defending your life here. God forbid if you ever have to draw your firearm, it needs to be efficiently, as quickly as possible, in a split second if possible.
Yeah.
Same thing with when you consider your reloads. You need to carry a spare mag. You cannot only just carry your gun with the one magazine. You have to have at the very least one spare mag. Some people carry 2. Some people carry a second firearm. That's where the ankle holsters come into play. With the little tiny, revolver or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just like a 22 or something.
Yeah. The concealed carry life is, yes. It can be stressful at first, but then it just becomes second nature. It just as you're putting on clothes and your wardrobe is gonna kind of change with whatever helps you to conceal better.
Right.
If you're a jeans person, they make jeans that have flex.
Yeah.
That's gonna help you out. Don't stay away from the rigid old school jeans.
Do you have a preference of a belt? Because you got to have like a fucking nice belt. Is there a brand you work with, or you use leather belt?
No. I do not work with any brands or endorse anything. The main thing about belts is they need to work with the holster that you have. They need to have some rigidity to them, because typically the holster will catch on the bottom of the bottom portion of your belt.
Right.
So that way when you're drawing, your holster stays in place. So the belt has to have some rigidity. It can't be these soft leather belts or fabric belts. They need to have some rigidity to them. They need to have also adjustability. You know how the few years back belts started coming like clicks? They will click.
Oh yeah, ratchet.
Yeah, that type is fantastic for concealed carry, because it just allows you to cinch up,
adjust however you need to. Yeah.
to just right.
Get the maximum.
Yeah. So
security.
Correct. So that's the type of thing that you need to think about. But again, a lot of it is trial and error. If you can get some good, keep an eye for discounts that concealed carry stores will have every now and then. But yeah, you're gonna be spending some money in the trial and error process. And if you upgrade to a different type of firearm, it starts all over again. You need to acquire a new holster for that firearm. If you put a light on it, et cetera, et cetera.
You ever do the shoulder one?
No.
Miami Vice style?
Well, right. The thing is, when you're talking about your drawing and your draw and concealed carry is everything.
Right.
How quick and efficient it is. If you're gonna go do this number, you're already telegraphing. You're already gonna go this number. Plus, the other thing is you're gonna be flagging potentially. You could be flagging. You could be pointing that gun in the direction of somebody that you don't mean when you do this number.
Right.
And that would be violating one of the safety rules. Don't put your weapon on anything you don't intend to shoot. So that's why I stay away from.
Unless if the bad guy's behind you, and you're like, I'm kidding, bro.
I'm pretty sure that's been on a movie.
Yeah, or two.
Yeah. Or two.
Or
Yeah.
two.
So that's why I stayed away from those.
And mano, we're at an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're at an hour 45 minutes. What do you have on the table? What is this? What is this demonstration? What are these calibers?
Right here is my hunting rifle. It's a Ruger American Ranch rifle. It's chambered in 450 Bushmaster, which
Not
is
chambered
this,
now, but
which is this beauty. That's the terminology that we use. That when the caliber of something is that's the chambering. 450 Bushmaster. That's this beauty right here, which is a
boy, man.
Which is basically a 45 caliber on steroids. That's the 450 Bushmaster. That's my hunting rifle. Right here is my AR 5.56 the weapon of war that our
it looks dangerous right there.
Our friends, anti-gunners, love to hate. But that's you right there.
Yeah, this is a Ruger. This is a breakdown, which I'll demonstrate real quick, just to show that it's empty. But what's cool about this is that you can take it apart, put it in a backpack.
It's just two parts, yeah.
Just two parts, and that's it. And then I put the.
You can take that camping out in
take that camping,
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's so fucking accurate, but it's 9mm, and it works with my Glock mag. So
that's great.
I put the Glock well in it. No, not the
That's the that's just a magazine
converter.
well. It's a magazine well conversion for
the Glock mag. Yeah,
Glock magazines. So, that's great.
So I got my Glock 17 there. A lot of work done on that on the I don't know what you call that on the
that's stippling.
Stippling. They just did the stippling, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
So I can pull out my bag there and then put it in this, or I can take it out and put it in there, and it's fucking super convenient.
And that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have the Spike Tactical Crusader for the AR.
Okay, right on.
Yeah,
good.
I got it when the company
not pictured.
Not pictured.
Not present on your property.
Not present. Not in this property. But so
Very
I have that, and then a few shotguns. Oh, we didn't bring the shotgun. Did you bring a shotgun?
I brought a shotgun. It's over there in the back.
I just bought my first semi-auto shotgun, which is
awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That thing's insane.
What's your magazine capacity in it? Or tube?
8.
Or tube? Is it magazine fed or tube?
Tube.
Okay, 8. Oh yeah. Is it which is it? Is it the Mossberg?
Yeah. Exactly.
JT Tactical.
Tactical something. So bad. I'm like blanking on all my stuff.
Yeah. Or JM Tactical. Mossberg JM Tactical. Jerry Michalek is the one that I'm pretty sure that's probably the one that you bought. Yeah, that's a very, very nice piece.
It's super badass. And then it's got the little how come I can fucking think? Because I got to take a piss. That's why. What's the green little dot? Like the little palito ese verde that
up in the front sight is it night? It's a night sight.
It's like a night sight. No, but it's like fluorescent. It's like long.
Oh yeah, fiber optic.
Fiber optic. That's it.
Right here.
Man. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Right here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's very good because it catches the ambient light.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good. Very good.
Same thing on that one.
And what I would like to say here is you can own these firearms unapologetically. Do not make apologies to anyone whatsoever about, oh, that's dangerous, that's an implement of war or whatever. No. I own this because it's my right as an American citizen, and because my life and the life of my loved ones is worth defending with superior firepower.
Right.
How about that? Please do not ever dare to tell me that my life is not worthy of defending with the most awesome firepower that I can acquire, because guess what? There are people who we pay for their paycheck through our taxes who are defended with awesome implements like these and more.
But it's interesting because as you're saying this, it's kind of weird. I just concluded to this. It's interesting how similar guns and motorcycles are. Because people always walk. Every time you ride a motorcycle, people are like, hey, man, motorcycles are dangerous. You shouldn't ride. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, motherfucker, number one, I love this. This is my lifestyle. I don't know anything else.
It's not your life. It's mine.
It's my life. And what I do with this is I fucking love it. But people will approach with the most negative, ignorant shit. Like, oh, my God, do you know fucking if you get in an accident, you could die? Do you know you're only wearing a fucking helmet? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, bitch, mind your own fucking business. And this is the same thing. It's like
it is.
I have the right to fucking arm myself. I have the right to buy my guns. I have the right to store it. I have the right to get a CCW. I have my right. Leave me the fuck alone. I have my right to not get the fucking vaccine. Leave me the fuck alone. I have the right that I don't want to drive a car. I don't want to fucking drive a car. I'm scared of cars. Cars are dangerous. I don't want to run over somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I've flown planes. Hey, Rob, you shouldn't fly planes. Like, what, bitch? Like, why, dude? Like, let people do their own thing. If you don't want a fucking gun, don't get a fucking gun. If you're curious, take a fucking course. I owned a gun for a long time, and then I started taking courses, and it just made me get more familiar and learn about the laws. And it's knowledge. It's like anything in life. If we continue this bullshit of banning guns, then it's going to be banning knives and banning this drug and banning alcohol. And then we got to ban corners. This has corners, bro.
Gas stoves.
What what is this fucking bullshit, man? Enough's enough.
Gas-powered lawnmowers. That's where it goes.
Enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. And Mano, thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
Fucking always a pleasure.
Awesome.
Looking forward to having you again. Anytime there's new updates or information, I think we should do this like every 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
And let's share one more time, website, social media.
Social media, Triggerology_FT on Instagram. I am also on X, formerly Twitter. Same thing, Triggerology. You can find me there giving hell to the anti-Second Amendment left. And website, awesome merch line, triggerology.shop, where you can find some of the most based Second Amendment merch out there. And website, triggerologyft.com.
Fucking
Thanks
awesome,
so much, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.